Men don't fall in love with the woman who does everything right. They fall for the woman who makes them question everything they thought they wanted. You can be beautiful, successful, kind, and supportive and still be completely forgettable to him, because none of that touches the part of him that actually decides whether you matter or not. Society has convinced women that being a good partner means being accommodating, nurturing, and emotionally available. But deep down, men don't bond with women who give them what they expect. They bond with women who disrupt their patterns, challenge their comfort, and awaken something they didn't know was sleeping. Most women spend years perfecting the wrong qualities. They learn to communicate better, to be patient, to understand his needs. And they wonder why he still feels distant, why he doesn't light up around them, why he can choose them but never truly crave them. The truth is, men value something entirely different, something most women are terrified to embody, because it requires giving up control, dropping the performance, and standing in a kind of power that can't be taught or rehearsed. There are 3 specific qualities that make a woman unforgettable to a man. Not 3 tips, not 3 tricks, 3 actual energies that shift the way he sees love, connection, and what he's willing to fight for. These qualities are rare because they demand something most people avoid. Emotional strength without neediness, presence without pressure, depth without drama. When a man encounters a woman who holds these traits, something inside him changes. Not because she's trying to change him, but because her energy reflects a version of love he's never experienced. She doesn't fit into the box he's used to. She doesn't play by the rules he's learned to navigate, and that makes her the one woman he can't stop thinking about, even when he tries to walk away. Men are drawn to women who carry an unshakable sense of self that exists completely separate from his validation. Most women build their identity around being chosen, being loved, being seen as enough. But the woman a man truly values doesn't need him to confirm her worth. She already knows it. Not in an arrogant way, but in a way that's so deeply rooted, his opinion of her barely shifts the ground beneath her feet. This isn't confidence that's performed. It's not about pretending she doesn't care or playing hard to get. It's a genuine internal certainty that her value doesn't increase when he's interested and doesn't decrease when he's distant. That kind of self-possession is magnetic because it's rare. Most people need external proof that they matter. They look for it in texts, in attention, in reassurance, but this woman doesn't. She moves through the world as if she's already decided she's worthy, and she's just waiting for the right people to recognize what she already knows. For a man, this is both unsettling and captivating. He's used to women who shift their energy based on his mood, who brighten when he's affectionate and dim when he pulls back. But when he meets someone whose light doesn't flicker based on his behavior, it forces him to pay attention in a way he never has before. He can't manipulate her feelings because her feelings aren't controlled by him. He can't win her over with charm alone because she's not measuring her worth by whether he chooses her. She's measuring him by whether he's worthy of her time. That shift in dynamic is powerful. Suddenly, he's not the prize, he's the one being evaluated. And instead of feeling rejected by that, he feels respect. Because deep down, men don't want a woman who needs them to feel complete. They want a woman who's already whole and is simply deciding whether there's room for him in her life. This quality also protects her from losing herself in the relationship. She doesn't mold herself to fit his preferences. She doesn't abandon her goals to support his. She doesn't shrink her personality to make him comfortable. She remains exactly who she is, and she trusts that the right man will value that. If he doesn't, she's okay with that too. That level of self-trust makes her unforgettable, because men can sense when a woman is performing versus when she's simply being. And the ones who are simply being, who are rooted so deeply in themselves that nothing external can shake them, become the standard by which he measures everyone else. He realizes that most women he's dated were trying to earn his love, but she's not trying to earn anything. She's offering her presence, and it's up to him to rise to meet it. That's what makes her valuable. Not her beauty, not her kindness, her unshakable sense of self that refuses to bend for anyone who doesn't see her clearly. The second quality men value is emotional calm that doesn't react to his chaos. Men live in a world where they're expected to have it together, to solve problems, to be strong. But inside, many of them carry doubt, fear, and emotional noise they've never learned to process. When a man meets a woman who isn't rattled by his mess, who doesn't take his mood personally or try to fix him, something shifts. Her calm becomes a refuge. Most women panic when a man withdraws. They assume it's about them. They ask what's wrong, push for answers, or try to smooth things over with affection. But that only adds pressure. It makes him feel like his internal struggle is now something he has to manage for her too. The woman men value most doesn't do that. She notices his distance, but she doesn't collapse into it. She doesn't make his silence about her worth. She simply holds space, stays centered, and lets him work through whatever he's working through. She doesn't punish him for needing time. She doesn't chase him with questions. She trusts that if he needs her, he'll come to her. And if he doesn't, that tells her something too. That emotional calm is rare because most people are reactive. They take someone else's mood and turn it into a personal crisis. But this woman has done enough inner work to know that people's behavior is usually about them, not about her. So when he's distant, she doesn't spiral. She stays grounded. That groundedness is attractive because it doesn't add to his burden. He doesn't have to perform for her. He doesn't have to pretend he's okay when he's not. He can just be, and she's still there, solid and unbothered. Over time, that becomes the thing he craves most. Not her excitement, not her admiration, her peace. Men don't realize how exhausting it is to be with someone who's emotionally volatile until they meet someone who isn't. Someone who doesn't turn every small issue into a big conversation. Someone who doesn't need constant reassurance. Someone who can sit in silence without making it uncomfortable. That kind of presence soothes something deep inside him. It makes him feel safe in a way he's never felt before. And safety, real emotional safety, is what keeps a man coming back. Not passion, not intensity. The feeling that he can be himself, messy and imperfect, and she's not going anywhere. Emotional calm also signals maturity. It tells him she's not reactive, she's not desperate, and she's not going to create drama where there doesn't need to be any. That maturity is attractive because it means the relationship won't be exhausting. It'll be a place he can actually rest. Most relationships feel like work, but with her, it feels like home. That's the difference. And that's why men value emotional calm more than almost anything else. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being so secure in herself that his ups and downs don't throw her off balance. She can care deeply without losing her center. And that balance is what makes her irreplaceable. The third quality is the ability to hold her own vision for life without needing him to complete it. Men are told they should want a woman who makes them her whole world. But the truth is, nothing makes a man feel more trapped than being someone's entire reason for living. It's suffocating. It puts pressure on him to be everything, and it makes her small. The woman men truly value has her own dreams, her own goals, her own life that she's building, whether he's there or not. She's not waiting for him to give her purpose. She already has it. She invites him into her world, but her world doesn't revolve around him. That independence is magnetic. It tells him she's with him because she wants to be, not because she needs to be. And that choice makes all the difference. When a woman has her own vision, her own passions, her own identity outside of the relationship, it keeps things alive. She's not sitting around waiting for him to text or make plans. She's out living her life, and he gets to be part of it. That energy is attractive because it means she's not needy. She's not asking him to fill a void. She's already full, and she's just looking for someone who matches her energy. Men respect that. They respect women who don't lose themselves in love, who don't abandon their friends, their hobbies, their ambitions just to be available for him. Because when a woman does that, it puts all the weight of her happiness on him. And no man wants to carry that. But when she's building her own life, thriving in her own way, and simply choosing to share parts of it with him, it feels light. It feels free. He doesn't feel like her savior or her purpose. He feels like her partner, someone who adds to her life but isn't the entire foundation of it. This also keeps him interested. Men lose interest when women become predictable, when their whole world becomes about him. But when she's unpredictable, when she's growing and changing and pursuing things that light her up, he stays curious. He wonders what she's working on, what she's excited about, what she's becoming. That curiosity keeps the attraction alive. It keeps him invested because she's not static, she's evolving. And he wants to be part of that evolution. Having her own vision also protects her from settling. She's not desperate to make things work because she's terrified of being alone. She knows she'll be fine either way, so she can be honest about what she wants, what she won't tolerate, and when something isn't right. That honesty makes her powerful because she's not trying to convince him to stay. She's evaluating whether he deserves to. Men sense that, and it makes them want to be better. Not because she's demanding it, but because she's showing him what it looks like to be someone who values themselves. And deep down, men want to be with someone who values themselves because it challenges them to do the same. When a woman has her own vision for life, she becomes a partner, not a project. She's not someone he needs to take care of or fix or manage. She's someone who's already handling her life, and she's just inviting him to walk beside her. That partnership is what men value most. Not someone who needs them, but someone who chooses them. And that choice only means something when it comes from a place of wholeness, not emptiness. There's a fourth quality that men value deeply, but rarely talk about: her ability to see him clearly without judgment. Most people look at someone and immediately start categorizing them. They notice flaws, compare them to exes, measure them against some imagined ideal, but the woman who captures a man's heart sees him for who he actually is, not who she wishes he would be. She doesn't try to change him. She doesn't hint that he should be different. She accepts him as he is, and that acceptance is profound. Men spend their entire lives being told they're not enough, not successful enough, not emotional enough, not present enough. Everyone has an opinion about what he should be doing differently. But when he meets a woman who looks at him and doesn't see a project, something inside him softens. He doesn't have to prove anything. He doesn't have to perform. He can just exist. And that's enough for her. This doesn't mean she tolerates bad behavior. It means she sees the difference between who he is at his core and the mistakes he makes. She doesn't define him by his worst moments. She sees the fullness of him, the complexity, the intention behind his actions, even when they fall short. That kind of seeing is rare. Most people judge quickly. They hold on to resentments. They keep score. But this woman doesn't. She understands that people are layered, that everyone is doing the best they can with what they know, and that being seen without judgment is one of the deepest forms of love. When a man feels truly seen by a woman, not idealized but actually seen, it creates a bond that's hard to break. Because she's not in love with a version of him, she's in love with the real him. And that real version feels safe with her in a way it doesn't with anyone else. He can share his fears without being seen as weak. He can admit his mistakes without being punished endlessly. He can be human, and she still looks at him with warmth. That's powerful. It makes him want to be better, not because she's demanding it, but because her acceptance gives him room to grow. Judgment makes people defensive. Acceptance makes them open. And when she offers acceptance without judgment, he becomes more willing to be vulnerable, to share deeper parts of himself, to let her in. This quality also shows emotional intelligence. It shows that she understands people aren't perfect, that relationships aren't about finding someone flawless, but about finding someone whose flaws you can live with and whose strengths you admire. That wisdom is attractive. It tells him she's not naive about love. She's not expecting fairy tales. She's expecting something real, and she's mature enough to handle it. Over time, her ability to see him without judgment becomes the foundation of trust. He knows he doesn't have to hide parts of himself from her. He knows he can be honest without being condemned. And that honesty is what deepens connection, is what turns attraction into something lasting. Because anyone can love the polished version of someone, but she loves the messy, complicated, imperfect version. And that's the version that actually needs to be loved. The fifth quality men value is her emotional honesty without emotional manipulation. Most people confuse honesty with aggression. They think being honest means dumping every feeling, every fear, every frustration onto someone else. But that's not honesty, that's chaos. The woman men value knows how to express what she feels without weaponizing it. She can say she's hurt without making him the villain. She can express disappointment without turning it into punishment. She can be vulnerable without being manipulative. That balance is rare. Most people either suppress their feelings to keep the peace or explode with their feelings to make a point. But she does neither. She speaks her truth calmly, clearly, and without blame. She takes ownership of her emotions. She doesn't say, "You make me feel." She says, "I feel." That small shift changes everything because it doesn't put him on the defensive. It invites him into understanding instead of argument. Men shut down when they feel attacked. But when a woman can communicate her feelings without attacking, he listens. He actually hears her. And that opens the door to real connection. Her honesty also creates safety. He knows where he stands with her. She's not passive-aggressive. She's not storing up resentments and waiting to explode later. She addresses things as they come with maturity and clarity. That predictability is comforting. He doesn't have to guess what she's thinking. He doesn't have to walk on eggshells. She tells him directly, and then they move forward. Emotional honesty also prevents resentment from building. She doesn't say yes when she means no. She doesn't pretend she's fine when she's not. She honors her feelings enough to speak them, and she honors him enough to trust he can handle them. That trust is what makes the relationship strong, because they're both being real. They're both being honest. And honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, builds intimacy in a way that pretending never can. This quality also shows self-respect. She's not afraid to voice her needs because she values herself enough to believe her needs matter. She's not worried about being too much or asking for too much. She knows what she needs and she's willing to communicate it. And if he can't meet those needs, she's willing to walk away. That willingness to walk away is what makes her powerful because she's not clinging. She's not desperate. She's honest and she's okay with whatever truth comes from that honesty. Men respect that. They respect women who can be real without being cruel, who can be vulnerable without being victims, who can express their feelings without making every feeling a crisis. That emotional maturity is attractive because it makes the relationship feel safe. He knows she won't manipulate him with tears or silence. She'll just tell him the truth. And the truth, even when it's hard, is always better than games. The sixth quality that makes a woman unforgettable to a man is her ability to celebrate him without inflating his ego. Men need to feel appreciated, but they don't need to be worshipped. There's a difference between a woman who sees his value and celebrates it and a woman who puts him on a pedestal because she doesn't value herself. The woman men truly value knows how to make him feel seen, admired, and respected without losing her own sense of self in the process. She notices his efforts, she acknowledges what he does well. She celebrates his wins, not because she's trying to boost his ego, but because she genuinely sees him and wants him to know it. That kind of appreciation is powerful. It makes him feel valued, not in a shallow way, but in a way that actually matters. Most women either overpraise to manipulate or underpraise because they think it keeps them in control. But this woman does neither. She's genuine. When he does something worth celebrating, she celebrates it. When he doesn't, she doesn't pretend. That honesty keeps things real. He knows her praise actually means something because she doesn't hand it out for free. She gives it when it's earned, and that makes it valuable. Her celebration of him also doesn't diminish her. She doesn't make herself small to make him feel big. She stands beside him, equal in value, and celebrates him from that place of equality. That balance is what makes it work. Because he doesn't feel pressured to be perfect, and she doesn't feel pressured to be less. They both get to be fully themselves. This quality also feeds his confidence in a healthy way, not arrogance, not entitlement, real confidence that comes from being seen and valued by someone he respects. And when a man feels that from a woman, it makes him want to be the kind of man worth celebrating. Not to perform for her, but because her belief in him makes him believe in himself. Men remember the women who made them feel capable, strong, and seen. Not the women who needed them to be those things, but the women who noticed when they already were. That's the difference. And that's what makes her unforgettable. She doesn't create his worth, she reflects it. And that reflection, when it's honest and grounded, becomes something he doesn't want to lose. Over time, her ability to celebrate him without losing herself becomes one of the things he values most. Because it's easy to find someone who worships you. It's rare to find someone who sees you clearly, values what's real, and celebrates you from a place of strength. That's the woman who stays in his mind long after others fade. Because she didn't just love him, she saw him. And being truly seen is what every person craves most. In the end, what makes a woman unforgettable to a man isn't beauty, success, or how perfectly she fits into his life. It's the rare combination of self-possession, emotional calm, personal vision, non-judgmental seeing, honest communication, and grounded celebration. These aren't tricks. They aren't strategies. They're qualities that come from a woman who has done the work on herself, who knows who she is, what she values, and what she refuses to tolerate. A woman like this doesn't need a man to complete her. She's already complete. But when the right man shows up, someone who can match her energy, respect her boundaries, and value what she brings, she's willing to build something real. Not because she's desperate for connection, but because she recognizes something worth her time. That's what men value most. Not the woman who needs him, but the woman who chooses him from a place of wholeness. Not the woman who loses herself in love, but the woman who stays rooted in herself while loving deeply. Not the woman who performs to be enough, but the woman who already knows she is. When a man encounters this kind of woman, everything changes. Not because she's trying to change him, but because her presence challenges everything he thought he knew about love. She doesn't fit the pattern. She doesn't play the games. She's just herself, fully and unapologetically. And that authenticity, that strength, that quiet power becomes the standard by which he measures every other connection. She doesn't just become someone he loves. She becomes someone he respects, someone he learns from, someone who shapes how he sees himself and what he believes is possible. That's not common. That's rare. And rare is what makes someone unforgettable. These qualities aren't about being perfect. They're about being real, about knowing yourself well enough that you don't lose yourself in someone else, about having enough inner strength that external chaos doesn't shake you, about building a life you're proud of so that love is an addition, not a foundation. When a woman embodies these traits, she doesn't have to